Welcome to Stocks in Translation, our essential conversation cutting through the hyperbole, the market mayhem, and the noisy numbers to give you the information you need for your portfolio. I am joined as always by Sydnee Fried, our intrepid producer, and today, very special guest, Eddie Johnson. He is the CEO of Grow My Bag TV, also a crypto professional, also an almost foodie, we're going to tell you what that is, and an author. So welcome. Thank you very much for coming down here. On the docket today, our theme is building wealth with Web3. What does that mean for the average investor, even the crypto shy? We're going to find out. Our phrase of the day, decentralized. That's the D in DeFi, but what does it really all mean? And this episode brought to you by the number 31.4 trillion. That's the current debt ceiling dollar amount. And guess what? All comes to a head this January. We're going to put a squeeze on the greenback and tell you what it means for meme coins. So Sid, Eddie, first our story of the week, and we're talking about building wealth with Web3. And Eddie, you recently wrote a book, seems quite relevant, Crypto Foundations for Building Multi-Generational Wealth. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here.
So I'm Eddie, as you know. What I do is try to educate people on what it means to invest in crypto and how it would affect their lives, right? And it's a matter of choosing, what portion of your portfolio is going to be covered by crypto and other investments. So split your portfolio evenly and then start to dig in on what it is that you're interested in. In this case, crypto.
And what are some of the themes you're looking at today? I mean, we can talk about current price action. Bitcoin just had a slide. There's Mt. Gox in there, 10-year-old bankruptcy settlement. But what's really going on in crypto? Because it seems like we had a lot of baggage to get through here. I'm talking like I'm part of it. I own a little bit of crypto, so sure. But what is the state of crypto right now?
The state of crypto actually is pretty solid. And the reason why I would say it was solid is because, yes, we had a dip, and that was because Germany decided we've got a ton of crypto that they needed to get rid of. They got it as confiscation from a certain party, but they didn't know how to actually get rid of it. So it hit the market pretty hard. They did it, out in spot traffic. And then right after that, you had the fear of Mt. Gox. Everybody thought that they were going to give that $9-point-something billion away as cash, which would mean they'd have to sell the crypto definitely. That's not what's going to happen.
Wait, someone needs to tell me what Mt. Gox is.
All right.
Because I'm already like that. I need that information to continue.
It's a defunct crypto exchange. So if you think FTX, Mt. Gox wrote the book.
Oh, okay.
10 years ago. I mean, that was 100 years ago in crypto time.
Yeah.
But so basically these Bitcoins, 140,000 Bitcoins, as I understand, have been tied up, and people who are the rightful owners have been forced to HODL. So what's going to happen with these? I thought they might be released in July, but that's not going to happen now.
It's definitely going to be released this year. I thought it was going to be released in June. It looks like it might be actually July. Not 100% sure. The letter said something like that. But it's going to be released, like I said, to all of the creditors as digital assets, meaning Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. That's a good thing. And I don't think, if you've been hodling this long, and I just did a podcast about this, if you've been hodling this long, chances are you're going to continue to hodl.
But they've been forced to.
Wait.
They didn't have a choice. So.
They did not have a choice. So, but think about this. If you took that loss 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And now you're sitting here and you're going, well, I'm going to get it back.
That's like stimmy checks.
Yeah, it's like found money now.
Yes.
So you're not really crying over it. So at this point, you're just going to continue to hodl and watch Bitcoin go up and then maybe cash out. So it'll happen in very disparate stages.
Okay.
I just had to Google HODL because I thought you guys were saying holding, and then I thought I was mishearing. HODLing refers to the buy and hold strategy. Buy and hold investors tend to hold their assets for an extended period of time to profit from the long-term value appreciation.
That's right.
We're
Hold on
learning
for dear
something
life.
new.
Are people still doing that? I mean, if you survived 2023, I mean, I would think that you got a lot of stamina here, but is that still the strategy, or do we have new entrants?
So what I try to tell people is pay attention to your strike price. So whatever you purchased your crypto at, understand your strike price and also understand your blended strike price. So if I bought Bitcoin 2 years ago, last year, whatever, if I'm using a dollar cost averaging strategy, now I have a blended strike price, and now I can figure out, well, how long do I want to hold? So like, if you're looking at stocks, Berkshire Hathaway's, Warren Buffett used to have like a 10% rule. So if he profited 10%, he would sweep some off, and keep it moving. So I tell people to try to do the same thing, or I tell my kids. That's how I got started in all this.
Eddie, I want to go back for a second to crypto overall when you talk about what portion of your portfolio should crypto be. Are you basically saying that everyone should own some crypto? And are you saying they should own something in particular, Bitcoin, spot Bitcoin ETFs, meme coins?
If I was a financial analyst or a financial planner, I would say something. But to my kids, what I say is...
That's what we want to know.
You better have crypto.
Really?
Right?
Okay.
Oh, definitely. So I taught all of my kids, this is how you go about handling crypto. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. And if I'm going to be paying attention to coins, I'm going to pay attention to the top 25 coins as according to CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko.
Is that enough to really kind of filter out the bad ones, though? I mean, we have in securities land, we got prospectuses, but with crypto, you don't have anything that's been blessed by regulators. So if they give you something to read, you don't even, who can even rely on that? Top 25, is that all we can do in terms of safety, or is there more that an investor can do?
I'm glad you asked that question. The truth is I tell people, dig in, do your own research. So if you hear about a coin, who's involved in the coin? Who's actually handling the development? Where is it being stored? What's the security architecture on it? All of those different things that I would be looking, when I do M&A, consulting, those are the things I'm looking at. Who's involved? What's involved? How long have they been involved? What previous projects they've been on? Were they rug pulls?
Any celebrities? I mean, a celebrity can almost be the death knell sometimes. Is that kind of a red flag if a celebrity is endorsing?
For me, it is a huge red flag.
Wow.
So the reason why, look at the latest one, Jason Derulo. He's known to actually be involved in certain things, in certain coins, and have those coins just kind of go tanked, right? So when I look at them, we've got Jason Derulo, Hulk Hogan, Iggy Azalea, Andrew Tate. So you look at all of these people that are doing all these nice little coins, and then they don't go anywhere. Looks like, smells like, feels like a rug pull. So I don't push those at all. I don't tell anybody to get involved with them. If you get involved with that and you've done your own research, you need to do more research.
I want to hone in on the word rug pull there, because that's something that we hear in crypto a lot. Not necessarily if you're buying NVIDIA, but it is a piece of terminology there. So tell us about the rug pull.
Technically, it's a technical term in my world.
Yes.
A rug pull is basically somebody coming along, propping up a coin, and holding a lot of that coin to the side for themselves. And then when all of these people buy in, they're selling, and then they just disappear.
All right, so we do see that in stocks sometimes, short squeeze sometimes maybe.
Yeah, but you're seeing it far less. I mean, the boiler room stuff doesn't happen, all that much anymore, right? Because everything's electronic, it's easy to track.
I have a question for you, going back to the basics, kind of. Is crypto going to become what the US dollar is ever? Is there a world in which we operate completely using crypto?
The Bitcoin peg.
The Bitcoin peg, exactly.
Wow, that's a devious question. I love it though, because it makes sense, right? Right now, you have a lot of coin out there. You have a lot of businesses out there that actually do want to accept crypto. So I own a company, a hosting company, and we actually help businesses accept crypto online. So when we set up your e-commerce site, we help you get your Web 2 address, your .com. We also help you get your Web 3 address. And we help you actually accept crypto directly to yourself. So basically, if somebody comes to your site, it becomes an over-the-counter transaction or a transaction directly between two people or peer-to-peer. Think Cash App or Venmo.
It kind of relates to all this. I want to get into our word of the day, which is decentralized. And I'm going to define it here. Decentralized refers to a system, organization, or process where control is distributed across multiple points instead of being centralized in a single authority. In a decentralized market, for example, you have buyers and sellers interacting directly without a central exchange, often using technology like blockchain to facilitate transactions. And so there's a lot of, decentralized can describe a lot of different things, including the market. We got apps that are built on DeFi. We have decentralized autonomous organizations. So what does decentralized mean to you?
Decentralized means to me exactly what you said. Basically, it's I don't have a single entity or a small group of entities that control everything about a given project. So in this case, think of a coin. So Ethereum is a decentralized project, meaning that it's a layer one, and no one single person or one single group can control that coin. It all goes to a vote.
I don't really get, though, how DeFi is supposed to kind of free us from, Gary Gensler's boot when it takes years to get a crypto ETF registered.
Watch out for your green screens here.
How is DeFi actually different than just the status quo?
It's not that it's out from under Gary Gensler's boot, right? You actually want regulation. You want some kind of guardrails. And most people in this space actually want guardrails. We want to be able to operate in a way that people can trust, that have clear rules. The difference is that it affects the banking system. Often when I speak about this, I describe how banks are going to need to redefine what a bank does. So DeFi, I can go to a DeFi organization and say, hey, I need a mortgage. I can do things like that. So if I'm doing things like that in a decentralized financial space, then how is traditional finance going to respond? So when you ask, are people going to be using crypto in the future as a part of everyday life? My answer is going to be yes.
It's gonna be like Ready Player One. Have you seen or read that?
Yep.
Where it's like they're operating this game and they use that cash for real things. I don't know. Is that what you're kind of saying? It's like Roblox, kind of like using Roblox to pay for.
It's exactly like that. So what's hilarious is I'm actually a principal member of the Metaverse Standards Forum, where we actually work to actually do something like Ready Player One. Basically, you have these different metaverses, and people want to be able to traverse through those metaverses. How do you do that? How do you do that with, your avatar's clothes on? How do you do that with your avatar's hairstyle? Things like that. And we work with different organizations to actually try to figure that out.
Cross-platform avatars. I love it. So that's a very specific use, kind of extrapolating how DeFi maybe looks in the future. But at its core, what is the possibility that it just disappears because it becomes too much like traditional finance, just with an added layer of costs? Does it really, because I look at, for instance, Ethereum smart contracts. It looks like the SEC is not going to consider them securities, but if you want to earn interest, if you want to pay your customers interest in your brokerage firm in crypto, you have to register. You have to register with the SEC to be able to do that. And that's the same thing that happens in traditional finance. So are there advantages to being in the DeFi space if you still have to abide by the TradFi rules?
Absolutely. And the reason why is because decentralized finance is going to move faster and more efficiently than regular finance. So if you look at regular finance, you go to your bank and they say, oh, well, we can give you 0.005% return. Meanwhile, you can go to DeFi and I can stake my coin for about a 5% return. That's a big difference. So that's going to be helpful to a lot of people.
All right, stay right there. We need to take a quick break, but coming up, we're going to be talking about the debt ceiling and also a crypto showdown for the ages in the next chapter of Who Wore It Better DeFi edition. All right, we are back, and we're talking about DeFi, crypto, Web3, and guess what? We're going to talk about the debt ceiling now, because that relates to our number of the day, 31.4 trillion. That's a theoretical dollar limit on Uncle Sam's debt ledger, also called the debt ceiling. We've seen this play out many times before. Sometimes markets barely notice. Sometimes brinkmanship on both sides awakens the bond vigilantes. For example, in 2011, the debt ceiling drama cost American taxpayers $1.3 billion, a very real financial impact resulting from political indecision. But I'm going to bring this back to DeFi. Can DeFi solve the problem that we're talking about here?
In a lot of ways, yes. The number one way is when you're living in a crypto world, think about it as living in a cash world. I can't spend what I don't have. So that whole credit piece is harder to get to. Right now, we live in a credit-based society, and credit is everywhere. Whereas in crypto, well, yeah, you can get credit, but your day-to-day life is not going to be based on credit. It's going to be on the assets you have.
The American dream is built on lots of credit here. That seems to me to be a huge paradigm shift. If you're talking about Americans being less reliant on credit, is that something that just comes about naturally, or does that need some kind of a push? Like, how does that happen?
That's a really good question. The fact is that if you really think about it, you have a lot of people that are actually bankless. So they live by cash. Then if you really go back to it and you think way back when credit cards got started, we were a cash-based society. Credit was not a big deal. Then we introduced credit cards, and it took 40 years for credit cards to really kick in. That's amazing. Whereas with crypto, it's been 14 years.
So returning to our roots, our pre-credit card roots, and just kind of repeating the cycle with a new twist?
I think so.
Interesting.
Can you kind of explain for our viewers who aren't as familiar why crypto is kind of based more in like mining and you can't just make all these things up? Can't just make it up like cash because we're talking about it.
Depends
like
on your
cash.
meme coin. But
Depends on your
Yes.
coin, but you know what I mean? How it's more like cash in that sense.
So you're basically dealing with certain coins that are, legitimate, as I would say, that are meant for use, right? So Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, Polygon, a lot of coins out there, a lot of the, L1s are meant for purpose. And they're created based on mathematical theories and mathematical algorithms, all that other good stuff. And there's a finite kind of way on how you're going to do this particular coin versus that coin. Some coins can expand, some coins can compact. Other coins, they're finite, like Bitcoin. And so that brings value. But the fact that I can move money around the world because crypto is stateless.
Is that something you look for, that limited supply has to be part of the equation when you're looking at those 25 coins that you might think about buying? Or is that is that maybe just an ancillary factor?
I think it's more of an ancillary factor because what I'm looking for is how much is in the public domain versus how much is being held by the developers. Right? Because if there's too much held by the developers, then I'm going to start to think that, well, maybe that's not such a good situation for me.
What about the community? How important is the community? We're going to be doing a showdown in a little bit of Solana versus Cardano. Deep tease there. But how important is the community to really getting these things off the ground and keeping them sustained?
It is the number one thing. Your community is going to grow your coin. Right? So the more active your community is, the more use that your community gets from it, the more they're going to talk about it. And that's how your community is going to grow.
In terms of the crypto community, I feel like I even view it as more of like a young man's game. Are older people in the crypto community? This is no reference to anybody in the room. Okay, I'm asking about demographics.
Yeah.
So
is it who is in crypto?
So I will say it like this: there are women.
Well, all right. Excuse me here.
And there's everybody. So on my crypto show, I've got everybody from the younger generation to older generation. Even my mother takes part in my podcast. So it's fun. But the idea is that so many people want to know about it, and they want to know in a way that they can use it, and they want to be spoken with, not spoken to. And I think that's the big deal.
Well, it is time now for our smart contract showdown, something I alluded to a few minutes ago. Or will it be a smackdown? In the red corner, we have Solana sporting lightning-fast transaction speeds plus low fees, the darling of DeFi and NFT enthusiasts the world over. And in the blue corner, struts Cardano, known for its robust research-driven approach and strong focus on security and sustainability, both building an empire, or trying to, but there can only be one. Eddie, who is wearing the DeFi mantra better? Is it Solana or Cardano?
It's a two-part question.
Yes.
The first part is right now you're going to say it's Solana. But as soon as the hard fork happens with Charles Hoskinson and his team, it's going to be Cardano, I believe.
Interesting. Can you elaborate on that hard fork, the timeline, or what should we be expecting here?
So the timeline should be by the end of the year, and we'll get that hard fork, and it's going to introduce the ability to build dApps and all kinds of applications, build use cases, meme coins, almost whatever you want. So everything that Solana can do, but with the added security and network stability that Cardano brings to the table.
How does an early investor kind of differentiate, like me, who's not a crypto professional? How do you know who to play?
The first thing I would say to you is get a book and understand the foundations of it all.
Like elliptical math? Do we need to go there?
No, it's not that bad. I mean, I've written a book.
Ooh, I see it.
So this book right here, I would recommend you get. And the reason why is because it truly does give you a foundation on what crypto is, what crypto means, its generational wealth, and how you can use crypto to build that. And more importantly, you'll get an understanding of how to actually understand the projects that are involved. And those projects are going to be dApps, DAOs. They're also going to be the coins and tokens themselves.
We want to get a little personal now with the last minutes of the show. So you have a really interesting background. I see you started your first business before you even graduated high school. Is that right?
That is true. I used to have a security company, and I used to be a bodyguard.
And the high school that you were going to was the Bronx High School for Science, correct?
Yes, it was.
I was hoping you were going to name drop, but he didn't. You let it go. Yeah.
Playing it cool here.
Yeah.
We got to tease this out. But this is, I looked this up, and more Nobel laureates have come from this high school than any other in the U.S. Just tell us what it was like going there.
The high school is run, when I was there, it was run like a college. So you really did have that open college campus kind of feel. You did what you wanted to do, and you were going to achieve what you did. So if you did the work, you were going to do well. If you didn't do the work, well, you're going to graduate from Kennedy High School.
You get in what you put in. You get out what you put in.
That's right.
Can I ask, when did you start learning about crypto?
I want to say a little over 10 years ago, I started learning about crypto. My friend Elliot and I used to have a job. We were consulting a company, and we used to have this desk, and we sat right across just like this. And then we started day trading.
Oh, nice.
And you have a little bit of time. You can watch everything that's going on. So you start day trading. And then, I looked up and I was like, oh, wow, it's this crypto thing. Started doing research on that. And I said, hey, we're going to buy Bitcoin, and we're going to buy Ethereum. We're going to buy Stellar, and we're going to buy XRP. Done. So
you were buying at $11 and selling it at $12. Any regrets?
No. The one thing I've learned is, learn from your past. Don't dwell in your past.
Very good.
Pick up and go. Learn from it. Take everything that you can squeeze out of it, and then move on from there.
You said that demographics for crypto are wide-ranging. A lot of different people are interested in this. But what's something that people really get wrong about crypto, or something that people are still nervous about when they're about to consider making their first investment?
The leading figures are in jail. I mean,
that's a good one. So that's exactly what I mean by know who's involved in the project. So I think what they get wrong is they don't do the research that they should be doing. They do kind of a cursory research, and they get their information from they heard about it guy. You know what I mean? That person who whispered it and
the shoe shine.
I'm going to go do that. Exactly. And that's not what you want to do. You want to go find out, hey, what's up with this particular coin, and how's that work, and what's the history of it, all that other good stuff. Is it a hard fork from something sort of like Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash? You want to understand everything that's going into it. But I think the thing that they absolutely get wrong is, I know a lot of people that are just starting in crypto, and they'll do not a hard transaction, but a very strategic level transaction, and yet have no idea what they did just because they listened to somebody else. They never did their research.
Well, it's a very important mantra. We talk about a lot about risk management at Stocks in Translation and Yahoo Finance overall. We got less than a minute left. Any final words for investors here?
I would say you want to pay attention to purchasing meme coins and understanding how to get out of those meme coins, and then stretch that a little bit further and say, I want to buy a regular coin. Well, what's its use case? How do I buy it? And then how do I sell it? Never buy without knowing how to sell.
Very good. Always have an exit strategy. Wise words here. And we got to wrap things up. Thank you so much for stopping by, Ed. Sid, as usual, you've been great. And it's time for us to say goodbye, but keep your dial tuned to Yahoo Finance.